sense to not do a fret.
To not fret.
I am Terry Longshore. I am a professor of music at Southern Oregon University. We are working on a piece called 30 by composer Mark Applebaum from Stanford University. One of the most interesting pieces of that is the quartet, where each member for the final 3 minutes of the piece are called upon to perform hand gestures that the composer has created, and it's put together a very complex description system in the scores and a very interesting notational system to indicate the hand gestures that the performers have to do. And their hand gestures are tied exactly to the rhythms that I'm playing in the solo part. I'm not a Tai Chi practitioner. I do yoga, but there are instances in the solo part where there are long silences, and the quartet is usually filling those silences. But as the soloist, I'm standing there for anywhere from 5 to 15, 20 seconds not playing anything. And instead of just standing there and looking around or counting rests or something, the idea was that there could be a moment like Tai Chi where there's these slow movements that fill that space and then prepare for the next entrance. And percussionists for years, really since the inception of the instrument, have been called on to do new and different things than they normally do. So, we get asked to rub things together and scrape things and play with auto car parts and all kinds of things. And those are always new experiences, and we have to figure out how those become music and how we express them musically. For instance, at one point the septet are playing 7 rolls of duct tape. How is that music? Well, that's what we have to learn to do.
I'm Brian Jeffs. I teach music here at SOU as well as at Rowe Community College. Yeah, percussion's kind of what started it all. As soon as I could hold a drum, I was thrown into a parade with a bag, said, go, make it happen. All right, rat-a-tat-tat, I had no idea what I'm doing really. It's a way of life for sure, to be kind of generic about it. Being a musician, you wake up and first thing you do is put on music and make coffee. I'm always tapping on stuff, which family member, my wife, gets annoyed every now and again. The biggest struggle with this, maybe finding all the weird instruments. Tracking down a second typewriter, or just the right frying pan that sounds good, or the right aluminum water bottle that sounds right. I still don't think we're happy with our water bottle. We're gonna fix that. The weird stuff, we don't have around. Being a percussionist, I'm not limited to a clarinet or maybe some very related similar instruments all my life. I could go find some new instrument right now and it would be a percussion instrument, or not, but it would still fall in the realm of percussion because it's new and weird, and they just throw all of that stuff in our corner.
I'm Kayla McDonald, and I'm a percussionist. I was 9, I believe, when I started taking piano lessons. My plan is to go into psychology as a career, but I definitely want to keep going with music because it's such an important part of my life. My opinion has certainly changed on what exactly music is just from being in this ensemble.
Music is very personal. Whatever you feel like you like, some people like brass, some people like me, I like acoustic guitars and violins. When we relax, we like to listen to sound. Even tapes on whale sound, a lot of people find it relaxing. Well, do you really want to call that music? I don't know. It's up to the people, right?
For me, music primarily always has been entertaining to some degree. If I'm not entertained or if I'm not having fun making it or listening to it, and what's the point? Music needs to be able to do certain things, it needs to sound interesting. Maybe it does need to move you emotionally.
We experience emotion everywhere in our brain, it's not localized, so it's sort of like this. I don't feel like music is really localized either. You get all of this emotion depending on what you play and how you play it.
You can feel it, you can hear it. If you wake up in the dorm at on the weekend, 9 o'clock in the morning, you feel your bed shaking. And that's some of the bass. One of the percussion, head of percussion, and I believe it's the Royal Philharmonic in London. She's deaf, but she can feel the percussions.
Music for me is a way to stop all the other stuff that's going through your head all the time. Because when I'm really in the moment performing or even practicing, I'm not thinking about anything else, and I can escape from all the other things going on in life and in the world. And that's a wonderful experience. I'm also very into fly fishing, and that is a similar experience for me. When I'm doing that, I can be thinking about nothing else but the rhythm of that activity. So playing music is first and foremost the thing that does that for me.
I can make a lot of sound. I mean, you can grab a whole class of first grader, they can make a lot of sound, but do you really want to call it music? Some will, some won't. It's purely subjective.
If I enjoy listening to something, it's music to me.
Avant-garde music could be, many different things, and this piece, I think, certainly falls into that category. You have people dripping water onto pie pans and, playing with bird whistles and doing these weird, strange sign language gestures that are made up by the composer. So it's certainly avant-garde, but I think it's a very interesting experiment in music, and one that, at least from my experiences in our previous performances, people come away with a very positive reaction. And the composer, Mark Applebaum, has an interesting quote where he says, someone asked him at one point, is this music? And this isn't specific to this piece, but to some of his pieces in a similar vein. They've asked, is this music? And he said, I'm not sure, but a more important question is it interesting? And I believe that's true. I mean, this is a different type of music than many people may have experienced, but if it's interesting, and I hesitate to use the word entertaining, but I think that's important, and I think we want it to be entertaining, then I think it's been successful.
We need difference in music. If we only played Mozart and Beethoven all the time, then there's no progression. So I feel like this is a natural progression of music.
So we just lost a wonderful rock and roll mind a few days ago. Lou Reed passed away. And a couple of his quotes, which I love. First of all, everyone knows, take a walk on the wild side. But another one that I really love of Lou Reed's is there's only X amount of time. You can do whatever you want with that time. It's your time.